And we're live. Hey guys, welcome back to Critical African Thinkers. As you know, this is a place where we examine everything under the microscope of logic to ascertain what is most factual and logically consistent. So I have a very exciting show for you today. I'm going to be covering mainly three things. The first thing I'm going to be covering is the fact that Donald Trump was hiding like a rat when he went to the NATO summit in Turkey, because apparently he was fed some information that the Iranians were going to try to kill him. So he hid like a rat in a catering truck. And then, he hid. While doing that, he did not even let his team members, those who were supposed to be with him on the same aircraft, he didn't let them know. So he put their lives at risk. So Captain Bone Spurs, even at 80 years old, is still dodging, right? And also, I'm going to be covering the fact that U.S. sailors in the USS Abraham Lincoln are currently losing their minds, that some of them are trying to jump overboard because they've stayed at the sea for so long. They are losing touch with reality. Now, Iran isn't even firing anything at them, but these guys are, I thought Pete Kegsbreth said he has created the most competent fighting force in the world. He's done away with the DEIs, with the trans, with the incompetence. Now he has the square-jawed, competent white man. But they're losing their shit for just being at sea for about 300 days. And finally, we're going to be looking at Rabbi Shmuley, who got called out in Iceland, as a genocide-supporting Zionist. He got called out in Iceland, and he got triggered, and he did what every Zionist does when he gets called out. He screamed anti-Semitism. But the guy who called him out was having none of that, and he was just chilled. He was very chilled, and he kept saying to his face, "Fuck Israel." So let's start with the first one. We're going to listen to former CIA analyst Larry Johnson explain, what happened, and just give his thoughts around why he thinks that this is really nothing. It's this narrative coming out right now that Trump, there was no credible threat to Trump's life from Iran, and he's going to explain why he thinks so. So let's get into it.
So when Trump was leaving Ankara, NATO, he commented about how he's on top of the list for the Iranians to assassinate him, and we're seeing all the reports from Iran about vengeance, etc., during Ali Khamenei's funeral, the former supreme leader. And then later on, a few days ago, we get a report that he actually back then, the New York Times reports that he actually did not take he changed Air Force Ones to go to the US. Instead of using the Qatari one, he went on the older one because it had better defense systems. Well, a few days ago, as we've spoken about, we get the video of how Trump boarded the Air Force One, I think the Qatari one or the main one, I don't know, but boarded Air Force One, and then went through in the back and went through a catering truck away into another plane. So the Air Force One was a decoy. Everyone else was in it, including Marco Rubio, etc. Actually, I've got the summary here. There it is.
So in the minds of the Trump administration, this is some fantastic move that they've done. This is some grand plot that they've done, that the US president is literally sneaking in a catering truck. And all the news outlets are carrying it now. BBC, CNN, everybody, they're carrying it as though, is this the competence of Pete Kegsbreth? Is this it in display? Everything is just going to shit under Donald Trump. Iranians aren't even firing at Trump, and helicopters are falling off the skies. Sailors are trying to jump off the ships. This is what you get when you have incompetent people at the helm of affairs. So much so that whatever resources you have means very, very little. With the amount of resources that the US military has, they shouldn't be having these problems. But because you have buffoons at the top, this is what you get.
Then there's a report that comes out today. So Trump did not go on Air Force Ones when he left Ankara because of the threat of an assassination attempt. And that today the New York Times reports that the Iranian threat that prompted Trump's secret Air Force One swap last month, as he was leaving Ankara, the NATO summit, emerged as he was heading into his last day at the NATO summit in Ankara. US intelligence received multiple streams of information indicating a specific surface-to-air missile threat against Air Force One, regardless of which aircraft was carrying the president. So they were going to target Air Force One anyway. A person near the NATO summit was also spotted with a shoulder-fired missile, while Iranian operatives knew exactly where Trump was staying in Ankara, including the floor of the building. So this came out today, and there was another report on who went with Trump on the other plane. I think two or three of his close friends were on there. I can't remember who it was exactly, but people that have known him for a while. Marco Rubio was not, and the journalist was not, and everyone else that was on Air Force One went on Air Force Ones when they left Turkey.
Of course, that's very consistent with Trump. He only took his friends to safety. Every other person is expendable. The press corps, Marco Rubio, every other person. Supposing this was a legitimate, valid threat, and they actually took out that plane, and Trump had the intelligence that this was what was going to happen, without informing the other people, without letting them know the sorts of risks that they were in, he allowed them to fly so that they would be targeted in his place. What a shitty person.
But do you think it's legit? Do you think the Iranians were genuinely considering shooting Trump's Air Force One as he was leaving Turkey? Because there are many people in Iran that do want vengeance. We've spoken about this with a few times, actually, especially as we were seeing reports on Fars News, etc., on like how to kill Trump, how to kill Melania, the Trump in a coffin on the billboard in Tehran. So that sentiment does exist in Iran after they had the supreme leader and other commanders killed, other leaders.
You know, for me, why would Iran want to kill Trump? Trump is doing enough damage to the US as it is. Trump is doing more damage than Iran could ever possibly do. This guy is degrading the US military. He is rubbishing the image of the US in the international scene. They can just wait out this guy. Killing him, you want him to be replaced by someone that is much more competent? No. When your enemy is making a mistake, you do not interrupt them. So I don't think it would be in the interest of Iran to want to kill Trump at this point in time, even though it would be justified saying that Trump killed their leader, Trump murdered children in Iran. It's war.
Well, I was going to say, which country in the world has murdered the leader of another country and murdered multiple leaders? I mean, not just the leader, but multiple officials. Would that be Iran or would that be the United States? It's the United States. So this is sort of rich that, oh, we're all upset that they're trying to maybe kill Trump. Hey, it's called karma, baby. So, the United States just needs to shut the hell up. You play that game, get ready. It's called blowback. But, look, the reason they put him on the old Air Force One is the old Air Force One, my understanding, has anti-shoulder-fired missile technologies. They've got chaff and other things they can shoot off to deflect a possible missile like that. You really got to ask yourself, why is this story coming out now? Why now?
Maybe it just leaked now?
So, Mario, come on, dude. Just now happened. Just now. No. Come on. There's always, when these kinds of stories appear, there's always a purpose, an ulterior motive behind it. Maybe it's considered a slow news day and they wanted something else to, boost up the threat that, Trump's facing this terrible threat from the Iranians are terrible people. They're threatening to kill the president after he killed not only Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and his wife and his daughter-in-law and his granddaughter and the 168 girls in the school and an Iranian volleyball team. Yeah, no, those Iranians are so unreasonable that they might want Trump dead. How dare they? Wanting to have eye for an eye vengeance. Yeah, so I look at this as, didn't they have anything better to write about?
Well, still a pretty. If the report's true, because it's also very possible that this is not a genuine report, or this is trying to create Iran as being a threat, trying to portray them as a threat and as the bad guy. I'd be surprised if the Iranians genuinely wanted to kill Trump, because again, they've been very pragmatic, and that makes no sense, and strategically makes no sense. And Iran has been. Everyone talks about Iran, rightly so, as being the victim of this war. But if they go and kill the president of the United States, while you've said it, one could argue is justified, but it also makes it harder to portray them as.
It's not a matter of one could argue it's justified. It's absolutely justified. Don't say one could argue.
No, the reason I say one could argue.
Don't give me that. You know, the United States murdered the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, but two wrongs don't make a right. If the U.S. bombed a school in Iran shouldn't bomb a school in the U.S.
It's not about two wrongs. It's not about two wrongs making it right. It's to say, you're going to do that to us, you're going to pay. Just like the Iranians have done in the course of the war. When they get hit, they hit back.
Yeah, I'm okay. You
weren't losing your mind over that when that was happening.
When what was happening?
When the United States would bomb like along the coast of the Strait of Hormuz, then the Iranians would retaliate in kind.
You know, yeah, I think so. But this is military targets. I think if the Americans bomb a school in Iran, obviously I'm completely against it. I've made my position.
But that's not what this threat is about. The threat did not say that Iranians were trying to bomb a school in the US. They were trying to take out Trump, who is a legitimate target. This is war. They're at war. And Trump has set the precedent that you can kill the leader of a country that you're at war with. So it's not a question of two wrongs not making it right. This is war. If it is legitimate for the US to take out the leader of a country they're at war with, then it is also legitimate for that country to attempt to take out the leader of the US. There is no comparison here. Trump is not, quote unquote, a civilian. He is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. So he is a legitimate target. Not that the Iranians would want to do that for very obvious reasons. The one I've stated earlier, Trump is doing much more damage alive. He will do much more damage alive than being dead at this point in time. So the Iranians are not stupid people.
Clear. I don't think that then gives the right for Iran to bomb a school in the U.S.
No, not bombing a school. I'm not saying that they have that right. That's not what we're arguing. Killing Trump he's the commander of the military. You're taking out a military target.
Yeah, but international law prohibits.
He's not a civilian target.
The thing is, Mario isn't even listening. He's not listening. He has his own ideas in his head, and he's not listening.
Yeah, but that is a breach of international law. I think the Americans should have never done it.
That's right. The United States is such an adherent to international law.
No, but I just said the U.S.
What the United States has said about international law, they wipe their ass with it. They don't care.
I agree. I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying both countries should abide by it. Bombing a school is a breach of international law. The U.S. breached it. I don't think the Iranians should breach it.
Killing Ali Khamenei was a breach of international. Okay.
And the Iranians haven't said that they're going to bomb schools in the US. So I don't understand this analogy that Mario is bringing into the conversation.
What's the punishment? What's the consequence for breaching international law?
I would love to see consequences for the US for breaching international law.
There is none. Unless the country takes it into and they take it into their hands to say we're going to kill Trump. Now,
my concern is that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. No, I understand, but they killed Trump. You know, some people would probably give him a prize. You know, there are many countries in the world that would give the Iranians a prize for taking him out. But I think the Iranians recognize, you know, it may be more beneficial at this point to have Trump in office. You know, makes it easier to rally the people against the United States. But again, this whenever these stories come out like this, what was the urgency? What drove it? How does it advance anything other than an agenda to portray the Iranians as these bloodthirsty murderers who are going to kill the president?
Yeah, so on the first, the point I was making about killing Trump is that, so you said that killing Ali Khamenei, there is no consequences for the US for breaching international law there, so countries have to take it in their own hands, which is, the argument makes sense. I'm saying my position is, you could use that same the same thinking for the school shooting. You could say, what are the consequences for the US for shooting the school in Manab? No one's talking about it in the US anymore. Those children are dead. The families are still suffering. They'll probably suffer for the rest of their life, as well as the volleyball team. But then based on that same thinking, Ali Khamenei to Trump, you could make the same argument that, all right, so Iran should take it in their own hands and bomb a school in the US, which is also a breach of
Is this guy retarded or something? I mean, the comparisons make no sense. First of all, the Iranians haven't said that they were going to attack American civilians. So that doesn't make any sense to even bring that up. On the point of Donald Trump, Trump is a legitimate target. It's a military target. So if the Iranians are trying to target him, I don't think at this point in time it's against international law. You're at war. And that's what happens at war. Wasn't it Donald Trump who changed the Department of Defense to the Department of War? Well, this is war. And this is what happens in war. People die.
International law. I'm saying my position is the Iran should pursue justice for sure. I think they should pursue it in any means necessary. I just don't advocate for the Iranians doing the same thing to the Americans as the Americans did to them. Now, if someone comes to me and says, Mar, if they kill Trump, I would also understand it, like you've just said. If someone tells me, Mari, they've just killed Trump, they're evil, they're an evil government, I would tell that person, I'm like, look, I don't advocate for killing Trump. But what would you expect for when Trump killed their leader and their leaders and declared war on them? That wasn't necessary and that was unprovoked. What would you expect them to do? So this is why it's a very tricky position. I don't have the answer, but it's I don't think the Iranians should kill Trump, but I also don't think Iranians, as you said at the end, I don't think they want to kill Trump for various reasons. One of them, the reason you said, is that there's no purpose to it. It doesn't advance. They want to control the Strait of Hormuz. They want to get their assets unfrozen, etc. It makes it harder to achieve those objectives if they kill Trump. So yeah, I don't think. But then I have I want to challenge my own thought, and with the one you've just said. So if this story, why was it released now? First, do you think the story is true? Because Trump was taken out of the Air Force One on that catering truck.
No, do I think it's true? No, I don't think it's true. But, I think if the Iranians really wanted to kill Trump, and they would have made a decent effort at it. But I think they've been content to just drive the United States out of the Persian Gulf. Again, I'm always suspect with these stories that they get ginned up conveniently at a particular time, and you always got to say, okay, what's the sourcing? Why is this coming out now? What's making this a story now?
Here for the conference.
Why do you think? So if the story is not true, and I'm not saying it's true or not, because I have no opinion on it. But if it's not true, so you're saying that Trump was taken on a catering truck, or you think that was fabricated? If you had to guess,
I think it's fabricated. Well, they may very well have done so, but it's like, so what? If there'd actually been an attempt, if there'd actually been because the premise is that let's put it this way, if the Iranians were really going to do that, and the original, the Qatari version of Air Force One took off, right?
Mm.
And the Iranians on the ground had no idea that Trump wasn't on, correct? And so they didn't shoot a missile at the plane that they thought Trump was on. Therefore, it was probably not a good report.
Yep, good point. Because by the end of the day, no attempt was made at any of the planes. So nothing really happened, which means that report was incredible. The intelligence was incredible.
Because otherwise they would have shot the missile at that plane and then we would have been mourning the loss of Marco Rubio and members of the press. It didn't happen.
And the people that were with Trump. So he didn't go. He went from Air Force One. He went to another plane, an Air Force C-32A, not an Air Force One. So he went on a completely different plane that's not meant for the president. As part of the decoy operation, the people that went with him were Dan Scavino, Natalie Harp, and Walt Nauta. They're the only ones that accompanied him. The people that remained on the Trump and the aides were covertly moved from Air Force One aboard a catering truck before being transferred to a smaller Air Force C-32A and flying separately to Britain. Flying separately to Britain. And then it says no cabinet officials accompanied Trump, with Secretary of State Rubio and other senior officials remaining aboard the original aircraft alongside journalists and other personnel as it served as a decoy.
Oh, yeah, a living decoy that didn't get fired upon. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so a person neither native...
So maybe the threat was bullshit. Yeah, sounds like
I'm in that camp as well. I'm in the camp as well. I just don't think there's always the possibility of a lone wolf actor, or maybe some militant group trying to kill Trump.
All right. Okay. So if you're going to use a surface-to-air missile, it's heat-seeking, right? Probably.
It doesn't say, but I would assume so.
But most of them are heat-seeking. At what point in a plane's journey is it giving off the largest heat signature? At takeoff or at landing?
Mm-hmm.
Which is the answer?
Takeoff. No. Landing, of course.
Why?
Of course. I don't know, because it's hot after flying for hours.
Yeah, it's been running for hours, hot, burn. Very good. Good.
I know the basics. I've driven a car.
So, so if you're going to take him out, you take him out when he's landing in London.
Yeah, but maybe they just don't have the assets there.
Well, then you don't attempt to shoot a surface-to-air missile at a cold aircraft that has countermeasures.
Maybe it's not a heat-seeking one.
Most of the SAMs are
a Trump-seeking one. Seek the orange person. Orange.
So, the story doesn't really make any sense, and if at all, it just shows how far America has degraded under Trump, that there would be credible enough threat from a foreign country to take out the leader of America. That would have been unheard of before now. I mean, no one is crazy enough to want to attempt something like that. But Trump has degraded the US military. He's degraded the image of the US, that it is not far-fetched for a group to have actually attempted to do such a thing. So much so that the US president had to escape in a food truck, a catering truck. How embarrassing is that? And they're not even ashamed to say that. They're not ashamed. They're putting it out there like it's some grand strategy that they came up with, that the Secret Service came up with. Oh my God.
Oh, orange. There we go. Orange.
I know.
Look for the fake hairpiece.
Yeah. All right. So there's that story. And what else do we have?
Suicides on board the USS Abraham.
Yeah, I knew it. I was going to bring it up because I know you were talking about, you've talked about this before because you spoke to a family member that had people on the link, correct?
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Well, actually, you got a minute? Let me read you something that I received today from one of my buddies.
You got a minute? We've got an hour. Take your time.
Let's see here. This was sent from a recently retired U.S. military officer, and he was reacting to the story in The Guardian, claiming that there had been 6 suicide attempts. And he wrote in response to that, he said, "Finally, the truth. This is making the rounds. If the Lincoln has 5,000 people on it and it hasn't seen land in 38 weeks, they're starving, no packages, rationing coffee, waiting to die from an Iranian hypersonic missile. They say the number is 6 attempts. Nearly a year at sea, no land, etc. The real number of attempts is likely 30 or 60. You have more attempts at suicide on a normal carrier operation. It's just a factor of statistics because you got 5,000 people. That's before being sent to your death on a purely political mission from someone who openly hates military members and think they are weaklings for getting hurt or dying. 6 attempts sounds like a lot, but that number is way, way too small. As an officer like them, I've had to do a number of Army Regulation 15-6 command investigations on soldiers committing suicides. All officers have. It's a normal function. Suicide is a very real and stable number too, and that's why you're still in. They have no clue what's waiting for them the first night they return home from wherever, and they have time to spend alone thinking about it, alone with nothing to distract except your only friends, Jim and Jack, referring to Jim Beam and Jack Daniels, 2 types of whiskey. Did you know they do roving patrols on all Navy ships? They call it fire guard. The term has become blanket use for all services. It means a rotating schedule to monitor the perimeter to make sure there are no fires. Wrong. The guard is to prevent people from trying to kill themselves on the spot. It's not dissimilar to the phone factories in China. Fire guard still happens today in Army basic training, when you go to the field, when you go on exercise deployments, etc. It has nothing to do with a fire. It's all about suicide prevention. Suicide is a part of the daily life in the military. And he goes on. So it's just,
Suicide, really? Didn't Pete Kecksbreth say that he has built the biggest and the best, most competent fighting force in America's history? He's done away with the DEI, with the trans, with the... Now he just has testosterone jacked, square-jawed, competent white men in the military. Those guys are susceptible to suicide. They're susceptible to a mental breakdown. Oh, really? How come? Whatever happened to all that competence? Whatever happened to all that testosterone that keeps driving them? Whatever happened to that? And there are even reports that there was infighting and about 7 sailors died from that infighting. And if that's true, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And all this for what? For nothing. For one stupid man's ego. There was literally no reason to start this war to begin with. All the people that have died, all the equipment has been lost, everything for nothing. Trump hasn't achieved a single objective of this crazy illegal war that he started. But people keep dying. People are losing their minds. The families of these sailors, they're losing their minds too, because they don't know what's happening. They don't know what's happening to their kids, their husbands, their fathers. They don't know what's happening. And Trump is chilling somewhere. He's playing golf. His kids are safe. His family is safe. None of his family members are going through any of this. And it's fine. That's just crazy.
The Navy's covering this up. And as I talked previously, the food's terrible. The support services, terrible. The sailors and Marines on board these ships are not being properly cared for. Do you realize in World War II, the longest deployment of an aircraft carrier at sea, just take a guess. How many days or months would you guess it was?
It's hard for me to guess.
Well, let's give you, right now, the U.S. Abraham Lincoln holds the record. They've been out for 243 days, but they've got a 207 continuous days. at sea, 207. In World War II, the aircraft carrier that set the record, the USS Essex, it was at sea for a total of 79 days. 1/3 of what they're subjecting these kids to that are on the Abraham Lincoln. And prior to the Abraham Lincoln, the longest one was the Dwight Eisenhower, and that was back in August of 2020.
How long was that for?
206 days.
So Trump doesn't care, obviously, about Iranians, and he doesn't care about his own military. That's why he's subjecting them to this torture, to this horror, for almost a year, not seeing land, having to ration food.
Is it? Would it be easier now to be in the sea for longer compared to World War II because of communication? I'm guessing those people on the personnel on those aircraft carriers.
Actually, those people in World War II, they got mail more frequently because the mail would be flown out to the ships, the ship tenders, these ships that would come alongside battleships and carriers and cruisers and give mail. These kids here in the modern era, they're not getting mail and they're not getting internet.
They don't have internet?
No. Limited, very limited.
Wow. They get calls with their family at least?
Not much. I mean, it's one of the complaints I had was from one of the mothers, there's all, sometimes they would get internet access, but you got 5,000 people on board these ships. They don't set up an internet cafe that, in all their leisure time, they can go down and say, you know what, I'd really like to listen to Mario today.
Internet cafes.
Yeah. So you can just see how messy this whole thing is because of one man's ego. One stupid man who said he was not going to lead America into more wars. Now he's creating more wars. Does that even make any sense? Obviously, I feel for the members, the family members of these sailors who are at sea. Feel for them, what they're going through. They're supporting a man who, they're fighting for a man who doesn't care about them. Anyway, about that's, Now, coming to the other story I wanted to talk about. Zionist shield, an all-round despicable person. That's Rabbi Shmuley, who, a very despicable person. He went to Iceland, and obviously he was called out for the genocide in Israel. There was a young man who approached him and said, "Oh, I'm a big fan of you. I just want to say something to the camera. I'm recording. I want to say something to the camera." And Shmuley was like, "Oh, I'm gonna call with my lawyer. I'm gonna call." Very dismissive, very, very dismissive. But somehow, the young man was able to get some time with Shmuley on camera, and he said, "Fuck Israel." And Shmuley lost his mind. He started creating narratives that this guy was an anti-Semite, this guy hated Jews, this guy wanted to kill him, this guy wanted to kill Jews. And so, even though everything was caught on camera. So how do you go about creating false narratives for things that are on camera? So, as usual, Piers Morgan would bring them on his show, because that's what he does to rage bait people. He'll bring them on his show to have a civil fight for the entertainment of people. So let's entertain ourselves and see what happened.
You lied to your teeth, and then you said, "Fuck Israel."
Fuck Israel, fuck the genocide going on.
He attacked me in a hate crime.
I never touched him in the video.
Are you seriously inverting this story from a Jewish victim of a hate crime
shows the character of this man, and it shows that he will go at any length to get views.
You are a dangerous man, and I will never tell you. God forbid. That just shows his intentions.
Let me tell you
now
something.
you see his intentions.
Fascism is immoral, but you have to acknowledge economically can yield some results. So it's immoral, but sometimes it works. If I have to choose Mamdani or Pinochet, I'll go Pinochet. If it's AOC or Pinochet, maybe I'd blow my head off.
The rabbi and activist Shmuley Boteach was at the center of a firestorm again this week after chasing down an Icelandic couple who interrupted his vacation on the volcanic island. Shmuley says that Samuel Gudmundsson posed as a fan who wanted a selfie before surprising him with a political message, or the words "fuck Israel" to be exact. The rabbi posted a video in which he followed Gudmundsson and his girlfriend through the streets. He accused them of anti-Semitism and vowed to press charges.
I told you it was on the phone. I told you I didn't want to interrupt, and you said you said to my Rashuli, you said that you are a big fan. You lied through your teeth, and then you said fuck Israel. Why would you do that?
How many times? Fuck Israel.
Okay,
Fuck
say it
Israel.
again. Say it
Fuck the
again.
genocide going on.
Say it
Fuck.
again.
I will.
Nothing to do with that. You know it. Let him speak.
History
Let
will
him
not.
speak.
History will not favor the genocide that you are behind.
What do you
Okay.
mean she has nothing to do with
We
it?
have
She
freedom
walked
of
over
speech.
to you.
We have freedom of speech here.
You do.
We have freedom of speech.
You can walk up to
Fuck
someone, put it
Israel.
in your frame of video
I will
and
say fuck Israel the whole day. This is my country. Welcome to my country.
This is the face of hatred, anti-Semitism. It's the face of Jew hatred. It's the face of what we've faced in 2,000 years.
Well, Shmuley's vigilante gambit has so far mostly backfired in the court of public opinion. The statement, fuck Israel, is considered rude in Iceland, but it's not illegal. Iceland's government takes a hardline stance on the Gaza war. It was among the first to join the genocide and war crimes case against Israel and Netanyahu in the International Criminal Court. It has recognized a sovereign Palestinian state at the UN since 2011, and some in the country have praised Samuel Gudmundsson for his Nordic stoicism. Well, he joins me now. Samuel Gudmundsson, welcome to Uncensored.
Thank you very much for having me, Piers. It's a pleasure.
Well, it's
I
good.
must say, I like this young man and I admire his heroism. Yes, fuck Israel. Being a genocidal state, yes.
To have you. This story's got a lot of attention, not just in Iceland, but also now around the world as the video clips have gone viral. I want to play a clip that you yourself recorded of your perspective on this. Let's take a look.
I don't know.
Excuse me.
Sorry, I'm not from here, and I have no idea.
No, are you Rabbi Shmuley?
I am. How'd you know that?
I'm a huge fan, man.
That's amazing.
Can I just get
Can you wait 1 second? Because I'm on a call with an attorney. Just 1 second.
Okay, can I just, I'm just on a video, like, already. Can I just do a shout out or something? Can I just?
But you gotta give me a second.
Okay, we're just walking by. We're just.
What do you want?
No, it's just if I can get you,
I can do a selfie, but
get you in a frame.
Okay.
Is it okay?
Yep.
Okay. Fuck Israel.
Okay.
Fuck Israel, man. Welcome to Iceland.
I like this guy.
Everyone's talking about the crisis in education, but the real questions remain.
You know, when you carry out the genocide, when you support genocide, don't be surprised when people react to you in this manner.
Now, I'm going to come to the way that Rabbi Shmuley responded to this in a moment, but just on the face of it, you know, going up to somebody in the street and saying, fuck their country in the way that you did, do you accept that was a very provocative thing to do?
Of course, that was the point.
Straight to the point. I like this guy.
Well, and what was the exact point you wanted to make?
To show a supporter of genocide and his son that's actively participating in said genocide that us Icelanders don't take kindly to that.
Right, but I mean, let me give you an analogy, which is I was a big protester against the Iraq War, for example, when my British government went to war in Iraq in 2003. But if somebody had come up to me in the street, regardless of what side of the debate they were on, and said, fuck Britain, I'd have been extremely angry with that person because they were basically telling an entire country, fuck you, rather than individuals like a prime minister, a government, or so on. Do you accept that by just saying fuck Israel, you were taking a blanket offensive term which almost every Israeli I know would be offended by.
Absolutely, because the current state of Israel is an unjust state and internationally condemned and condemned in International Court of Justice, that they are actively participating in war crimes and genocide. And it has nothing to do with an individual or anything. I know plenty of Israelis are against this current state of affairs. So yes, of course, it's a generalization, but yes, that's how it works. If that's the current state of things.
Rabbi Shmuley accused you of hating Jews, of being anti-Semitic. What do you say particularly about that charge?
It's complete nonsense, and it's a cheap shot he would take. And it's I don't know why he had to go there. Like, he could have said I was rude or a whole plethora of things, but I guess he wanted to take a below the belt shot. And he even accuses me in the post, in the caption, in the video itself, of me saying these things, and it's categorically false because the whole event was recorded. It's like he says I said fuck Jews. He says I put my arm around him. I never touched him in the video. He multiple times tried to walk into me, on the while trying to chase my girlfriend up and down the street. But yes, I mean, I know of him before this event. I knew who this guy was. Obviously, that's why I went up to him. I know he's provocative. He's evangelical with these things, and he has no problem, being libelous or no matter the consequences. He has no problem being dishonest, and I don't like that.
Yeah, certainly there is no surprise there that a Zionist and someone as despicable as Rabbi Shmuley is going to lie and play the victim and scream anti-Semitism. These guys are so self-unaware that they're going to use the same trick all over and over and over and over again, overused, as though people are not getting fatigued by this accusation of anti-Semitism at every turn. People are basically immune to that now. So yeah, you say someone is anti-Semitic, you just shrug it off because it makes no sense. It means nothing at this point in time.
What followed after this was Rabbi Shmuley pursuing you and your girlfriend through the streets with his son in the background for at least 10 minutes. It was pretty aggressive. Many people viewed it as harassment, particularly given the way that your girlfriend was responding. She looked very intimidated by what was happening. What was her feeling as this was happening?
She was very fearful and embarrassed, first and foremost, that to be on camera. She's camera shy, and she barely knew who he was. I gave her like a quick intro to him just before I walked up to him. I told him what I think of him and what he's responsible for and what he stands for, and she had nothing to do with it. She stood away from us when I went up to him, took the initial video. And she should have not been a part of this because she had nothing to do with this. And I get if he wanted to imply that she was a part of it by proxy or something, but chasing her down the street and avoiding me and his IDF son also chasing her is completely despicable. And it shows the character of this man, and it shows that he will go at any length to get views or some kind of reaction. And but yeah, I'm very proud of her for staying strong. She told
it shows us lack of character.
Me she wanted to cry, but she didn't. She stood strong.
Yeah.
And did she have any problem after this incident when you went off together? Did she have any problem with the fact that you had started this? Because obviously, if you hadn't said "fuck Israel" to Rabbi Shmuley, none of what happened afterwards would have occurred.
Of course, it was the awkwardness of the whole situation, but ultimately she was glad that I did the right thing. I was super glad I did the right thing because I of course knew much more about this guy than she did, and but yeah, she was ultimately like excited that when I told her more about this, and she's been getting positive messages. She's been getting praise from her colleagues at work, and yeah, it couldn't have turned out better in the end.
Immigration is an important part of the Government of Canada's plan to keep our economy growing.
Support for Uncensored comes from Dose for Cholesterol, a simple and reliable way to take control of your own health.
I'm a Jewish victim of a hate crime who could not have been more pleasant to an Icelandic man who came over and admits that he lied, fraudulently misled me and said, I'm a huge fan. I said, I'm on the phone with an attorney. We pay for hours by the attorney. You know, I said, give me 5 minutes. And he said, but I'm leaving now and I have to do it now. And he takes the camera and he says, F Israel. I'm not going to use his vulgarity because I'm not a vulgar person. He attacked.
You're not a vulgar person. You just support the killing of kids. Yeah. The killing of kids is fine, but saying fuck Israel is where you draw the line. Yeah. Great morality there.
To me in a hate crime. And the fact that he now admits that he dragged his poor girlfriend into this shows he's also a misogynist. So we have a self-admitted liar who posted the video of his fraudulence and his lie. All the anti-Semites have to always use deceptive tactics. He then sparked a wave of harassment and attacks against me and my children and my 1-year-old grandson that hit probably 30 or 40. They were all documented, have been watched by tens of millions of people the world over. Now, I'm going to prove in the space of a single question that Samuel, who has a biblical Hebrew name, interestingly enough, it's my name, Shmuley is Samuel in Hebrew, that he could not care less about a false genocide in Gaza. That's not happening. There were 400,000 Arabs in Gaza when Israel took over in 1967 through a defensive war. There are now 2 million. How does a genocide increase a population 5 times their amount before? It's fraudulent. But I'm going to prove that you couldn't care less, Samuel, about Arabs. Samuel, how many?
This guy is a piece of shit. Does he want to tell me he doesn't understand the definition of the word genocide? He doesn't understand what genocide is. So just because the Palestinians have increased their population from 1948 up until this point means that Israel isn't committing the genocide against them.
Palestinian refugees since the 2008 civil war in Syria and October 7th, and what you call it, how many how many Palestinian Arab Muslim refugees has your country, which only has 350,000 people, in a country 5 times the size of Israel, taken in as migrants, as refugees, to give them safety? How many?
How many has Israel taken in? How many Palestinians have Israel taken in? How many Syrians has Israel taken in? How many Libyans have Israel taken in? The question back to you, Rabbi Shmuley.
Are you going to do your same little point you made in the Facebook video before?
I am asking you, since you say it's a genocide, and you want to, it's not that you hate Jews, you care about Palestinian life. Your country is empty. People can drive it from end to end. There's only 350,000 people in a country.
What does this have to do with anything?
Wait, no. And the answer, he won't answer. The answer is because he doesn't know.
Let him answer. Let him answer. Let him answer.
Go ahead.
Rabbi Shmuley, you've asked a question. Let him
won't
answer.
answer. He's saying it has nothing to do. Go ahead.
Well, let him answer. Let him answer.
Yes.
Let him answer.
Because your opinion of whether a lot or a few came in will either be negative or positive. And that's up to you. I don't care what your opinion is.
Pierce, he doesn't know.
No.
Pierce, he spoke for 10 minutes.
Let him answer the question. Let him answer the question.
It's my turn to speak.
Let him answer.
If you gave him 10 minutes, he won't.
No, Rabbi Shmuley, I will decide who speaks. Let him answer properly, then you can respond.
Okay, how many has your country taken in as migrants from a genocide?
Leave their homeland? Why should they feel the need to leave their homeland because of your war of aggression and expansion in Israel? You answer that question.
May I now continue, please, Pierce? Pierce, may I now continue, please? Or you're going to get... Okay, now, Iceland has taken in 200 Palestinians over the past nearly 20 years, 200. They could fit into this building. Iceland only has 2,000 Muslim residents in the entire country. Iceland tried to ban circumcision. It would have made it a criminal act, and it was seen not as anti-Semitic. It was seen as Iceland not wanting Muslims because Muslims are even much more insistent. Iceland doesn't allow Muslims. We were here for the past 2 weeks. We saw 5 black faces in the entire country. It is, everyone knows, it is statistically the most white homogenous country on earth. So it has, for Iceland to start virtue signaling, we allow no blacks, no Muslims, no Palestinian refugees, no Islamic refugees. White people alone are allowed into this country, but we're going to choose one group to demonize, harass on the streets, attack them, and call them baby killers.
Out of interest.
Typical whataboutism. They're talking about the crimes that Israel is committing, and then he wants to bring in, oh, what about your country? Your country is this, your country is that. So what? Okay, say Iceland is all of those things. How does it negate the case against Israel? Say Iceland is racist. Say Iceland is homophobic. Iceland is Islamophobic. Let's say all that is true. How does that negate anything that you've just said? Let's go to Israel itself. Okay, you have Muslims in Israel. You have Palestinians in Israel. Do they have the same rights? Do they have the same rights as the 200 Palestinians in Iceland have? Do they have equal rights as Israelis? The answer is no. Oh, you have black people in Israel, the Ethiopian Jews. Are they treated the same way as the Ashkenazi Jews? Was it not on record that doctors in Israel was giving contraceptives to these women without their consent, without their knowledge, to limit the reproduction of these Ethiopian Jews? Is that not racism? The Arab Jews not face the same level of discrimination somewhat when they got to Israel? So what are you talking about? Anything you are leveling against Iceland is even much more worse in Israel. But saying that's not even the case, saying Iceland is all of these things, it doesn't negate the points that is being made about Israel. If we're talking about the crimes of Iceland, yes, let's focus on it. A criticism of Israel is not an endorsement of any other nation. It doesn't mean that if you're criticizing Israel, it means that Israel is the only bad country in the world. No, it doesn't mean that every other group is good. It doesn't mean that the Arabs, other Arab countries are now fantastic, that they are beacons of democracy and you are endorsing them. No, that's not what it means. It means you are critiquing Israel. If it gets to the time of, if there are reasons to criticize Saudi Arabia or any other country, it would not make sense then to bring Israel into it, because it's not about Israel. So when the conversation is about Israel, let it be about Israel. But he wants to bring all this whataboutism.
Wait.
Rabbi Shmuley.
I have one final point.
I have a question for you. I have
one final point. I am not Israeli. I'm an American. My country protected Samuel's country for 50 years. They don't have an army. They don't spend. No, I do not. You're a liar. I do not have Israeli citizenship. You are an absolute fraudulent liar. I'm an American citizen. You invented that in the same way you lied that you're a fan of mine. I'm an American. My country spent 50 years defending your country. And Pierce, let me tell you one final thing. You're a British citizen, Pierce. Your country, Pierce, your country illegally invaded Iceland in April of 1941 because they feared that the Germans would take over Iceland. Your country did that. Your great prime minister, who you praise as the greatest statesman of the 20th century.
1940.
And then finally, now 1 second, and it was April 1941. Now, Pierce,
it was 1940.
Pierce, fine, 1940. Pierce, finally. Pierce, Winston Churchill, who I, like you, consider the greatest statesman of the 20th century, killed 1 million German
and Italian children in the Second World War. Now, let's say you as a celebrity come to Iceland and they walk over to you, Samuel, and says, Pierce, I am such a fan. Can I take a picture? And then he looks you in the face and said, you effing baby killer, effing Britain, you killed 1 million German children. What you would think is two things. A, this is how you treat your guests when 10% of your entire economy is dependent on.
All right, let me respond. Let me respond. All right,
and Churchill killed
I need to
1 million
speak.
children.
I need to
isn't
speak.
Britain baby killers?
I need to speak. I want to focus specifically on this incident that everyone's been talking about and has watched. And my point to you, Rabbi Shmuley, is not that you shouldn't have been offended, if not outraged by what happened here. It's quite clear Samuel did go up, pretend to be a fan, and then said, fuck Israel on camera so that he could have a moment at your expense. I completely agree with you. I would have probably reacted badly too if someone did that to me. They have done it to me over the years, often completely erroneously, because they think my position on something is not what it is. But anyway, that's the fate of being in public life. I have two thoughts about what you've been saying and what I've seen. One is, if Iceland's that bad, why have you gone there on vacation? And secondly, I would say to you that your behavior in the 10 minutes that followed Samuel saying fuck Israel was outrageous, because there was a young woman clearly very intimidated by what you were doing, didn't want to be on camera. She had nothing to do with this. She didn't say anything to you. And I thought your continued harassment with her there looking intimidated and scared, and as Samuel has said, close to tears, I think was reprehensible. Two things can be true at the same time.
Pierce, I'm amazed that you would invert this, that a victim of an anti-Semitic hate crime is now the harasser. This is always
eternal victim, always the victim. All Zionists are always the victim.
It's a story with the Jews. The Jews.
You're an eternal victim.
It wasn't an anti-Semitic hate crime.
I am allowed.
Where was the anti-Semitic hate crime?
I am allowed. You asked me.
Where was the anti-Semitic hate crime?
Let me
Where was the anti-Semitic?
Let me respond. October 7th, Israel is attacked. Women have their breasts cut off. Terrorists are playing volleyball with their breasts, shooting them in their vagina.
Where was he anti-Semitic? Tell me.
And when Israel protects itself, of course, Israel's the aggressor and guilty of genocide.
Fine.
A rabbi
Where
is
was he
walking with his
anti-Semitic?
1 year. A rabbi is walking with his 1 year old grandson and with his 4 children. A man comes and lies and says, I'm a fan. He says, F Israel. I won't say the word because I'm not vulgar.
I've accepted that.
His girlfriend,
Where was he anti-Semitic?
His girlfriend stood with him the entire time. You should be pointing a finger at a misogynist who admits that he did not.
Where was he anti-Semitic?
What we going over to an American Jewish citizen in middle of the street and harassing and making them feel very.
This guy is an embarrassment. This guy is an embarrassment to Jews. He shouldn't be. He shouldn't be even be bearing the name rabbi. He's an. If this were a Christian leader, I would be embarrassed by it. Like, really, really embarrassed. Is this the sort of behavior that he wants to be associated with Judaism, with Jewish people? My God.
Unsafe and attacking them when they're alone and don't know, and saying F Israel to your face. That is anti-Semitism, pure and simple.
No, it's
and
not.
If you're a British man and if they walk over and say
everything is anti-Semitism, everything is antiseptic.
No.
If they say to you, Pierce, Churchill killed 1 million German children. F.
Let me
Britain.
stop you there.
It was harassing.
Let me stop you there.
It was
I'm
disappointed in you. I really am.
Wait a minute. Can you? Okay,
F
you know
Israel
what? I
is
don't
not
care.
a criticism.
F
Israel is not a criticism.
F Israel
is an attack on Jews. Saying I'm a dual
let me
citizen
talk,
is a lie.
please.
I'm
No,
an
it's
American.
not an attack
I'm
on
an
Jews.
He's in his own grave. I don't even.
No, it's not an attack on Jews. No, you accused him of being a Jew hater and of being anti-Semitic.
This guy is debating himself and still losing. Oh my God. Someone isn't even saying anything. Shmuley is debating himself and is losing.
Nothing I've seen
Correct.
in these videos
Because he came
proves that
over
he
and lied and
either
said
hates
I'm a
Jews
fan and
or was
F Israel.
anti-Semitic.
And it happened
No.
40 times while we're here. And the
He
reason
doesn't
I'm
like
here
you.
is because I love
He
this
doesn't-
country, okay?
Fine.
Then let him walk
Fine.
over and say,
Why does he keep closing his eyes? That's weird.
can
All
I
right,
say
stop
respectfully
talking
say
for a
I don't
moment.
like
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just to be clear,
explains
it's
the
fine.
nature-
You can. All right, I'll let Samuel respond. Samuel respond.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it shows the nature of your thinking and of also in the grander scheme of the nature of your warfare. For a man to approach you and your son, two men, one of them an IDF soldier, chasing down my girlfriend and largely ignoring me, pushing into me to get to her with the camera. You lie.
That is a
that I
lie.
touched
You are
You lie. It's on the
you are
video.
lying
It's on
through
the
your
video.
teeth.
You
You
lie
are lying through your teeth. You
Do you know how embarrassing this is? This is an old man. This is a grandfather having this sort of conversation with someone who could be his kid or his grandkid, and being emotional, not being composed. My God.
are an anti-Semite
I'm
who
not
harassed
saying
you
that I
on the
put my
street,
arm
who
around
lied
you.
and said you're a fan, and we did not follow your girlfriend. We followed you. You were with her the entire time. You admitted that you lied to her and
It's
said
on your own
that
video, buddy.
You and now you're saying she was proud of you. You just said she's proud that you attacked me. I am sorry. I am sorry. Pierce, American tourists who my taxpayer money kept this country safe for 80 years since the Cold War. My money. They don't spend $1 on defense. I am an American tourist. I deserve to be treated with a simple
Yeah, but you
respect,
also live.
not
You
attacked,
also
not
live.
harassed,
Rabbi
etc.
Shmuley. Rabbi Shmuley.
Please.
Rabbi
You're
Shmuley.
turning
You also
red.
live in a free. Hang on one second. All three of us, Iceland, UK, America, all live in free democratic societies. If Samuel Goodmanson wants to say "fuck Israel," he's legally allowed to say it. I wouldn't say it.
Is he
I don't
allowed
like
to
it.
harass
I
me
can
on the
understand.
street
Wait a minute.
with my
Let me
one-year-old
finish.
grandson
Let
that
me finish
attacked
talking.
me?
Let me finish talking. Let me finish talking. Right. So I understand why you would be angry, but it doesn't justify the way that you harassed his girlfriend for 10 minutes.
So I did
seeing
not
that she
harass
was
his girlfriend. His
intimidated and very
I'm
upset.
sorry.
You did.
That
You
is
did.
your
You did.
that is
Truly, you
your
are
And you've
very
accused him.
interpretation.
And you've
very
accused him.
lucky to not have
And
touched
you've
her
accused
like
him.
you touched
And you
me.
Listen, let's be clear. Let's be
and
clear.
let me
Let's be
finish my
clear.
point. No, let me
Let's be
finish
clear.
my point. Let me finish my point. Let me finish my point. Not only did you
You are
harass his
blaming the
girlfriend, which she was
victim.
clearly
You are
looking-
blaming the
clearly,
victim.
no,
You are
oh,
blaming
shut
the
up,
victim.
Shmuley.
You are
Grow
blaming
up,
the victim. You are blaming
You have,
the victim.
you have accused.
He said, "Shut up and grow up." Yeah, I like that.
You have accused Samuel of being anti-Semitic and of
Oh my
hating
God.
Jews. Nothing that he has said, either in those video clips or here on this program, says that he is anti-Semitic or hates Jews. He just opposes
kidding.
what
You're kidding,
Israel
right?
has been doing in Gaza. And by the way,
Which is
by
what?
the way,
Which is what? Wait,
two-thirds
wait,
of your
wait,
own.
wait, wait, wait.
Two-thirds
Which is
of
what?
Wait
Which
a
is
minute.
what?
Two-thirds of your own country, the United States, now have a negative view of what Israel, the state of Israel, has been doing in Gaza. His opinion is not an outlier.
And Rabbi Shmuley would chalk that up to anti-Semitism.
You know that Israel's popularity around the world has been plummeting because of the actions of Benjamin Netanyahu and his government. So the idea that because somebody criticizes Israel or the Israeli government, they are automatically Jew haters or anti-Semitic, as you have tried to frame this, is outrageous and completely wrong. He is not, from
Okay, may
anything
I respond?
I've heard, anti-Semitic or anti-Jewish. So why say
May I
that?
respond? May I respond?
Oh, look at Pierce being reasonable. What happened?
You've done nothing
Israel.
but respond.
Oh, no, excuse me. You asked me why I came to Iceland. I love this country. Its external beauty is unmatched. It should be actually reflected with an internal beauty. Are you aware, Pierce, that Iceland from 2003?
That's just so cringe. You said they were Islamophobic, they were racist, they were, name it, all those other terrible things, and now you're praising them. This guy is a bullshit artist.
2016, had an Israeli first lady named Dorit Musayev, who was more popular even than her husband, the president. This country once loved Jews, even though they only allowed 8 Jews in during the entire Holocaust. They were under Denmarkian control.
What's
Denmark
it got
allowed
to do with
8,000
Jews?
Jews in. Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. You're not letting me speak. You're not letting me speak. Israel, accusing Israel, the only Jewish state in the world, of a genocide. When this country, this past Sunday, marched for LGBTQ rights, where Hamas takes gay men and castrates them, where Hamas takes teenage girls and has their brothers kill them.
What does Hamas have to do with anything? Does this guy tell you that he's in love with Hamas?
For having a girlfriend.
Was it by coincidence that you went into the only gay bar in Iceland?
Hamas has not had. Hamas,
what was that, 1 or 2 days after this?
Where Hamas has not had elections 2006, where Mahmoud Abbas himself, the head of the Palestinians, is afraid to go to Gaza, and has not been there since 2006 because the leader of the Palestinians would be killed. You want Jews to die without defense. Now, as far as
Wait a minute. Rabbi Shmuley, sorry.
Now you're attacking gay people.
You cannot say you just said he wants Jews to die. You've lost your mind, man. What are you talking about?
No, I said he doesn't want Jews to defend themselves. It's the same thing, like in the Second World War.
You said he wants Jews to die.
Excuse me. I said he wants Jews to be attacked.
You said he wants Jews to die.
That's right.
You said he wants Jews to die. I heard you.
Let me be.
I heard you say what you said.
Let me be
Don't
clear.
lie about it. We all heard what you said.
If October 7th
this is
an outrageous claim.
Without an idea, Jews will die.
You're only shooting yourself in the leg.
Hamas has a constitution that calls for a second Holocaust of all the Jewish people. Without an IDF,
yeah, no one's defending Hamas. Why are you talking about Hamas?
About everything.
He's saying that Israel cannot defend itself in Gaza.
What is going on?
It is Hamas that uses
No,
children
he's not. He's not
as
saying that.
human
Nobody's
shields.
saying that.
And by the way,
Nobody's saying that.
A final comment.
Nobody's saying that.
When a Zionist has lost the argument, he just starts screaming Hamas, Hamas, Hamas. Oh my goodness.
Clearly, listen, Pierce. It's a purely 2-on-1 debate. I don't mind. I've had worse thoughts. Okay.
Your blood pressure's up, Rabbi. Come on, wrap it up.
Your country, Pierce, had a 5-to-1 civilian to combatant death ratio in the Second World War. Churchill killed 5 German civilians for every 1 Wehrmacht soldier. Israel has killed 1-to-1, 1 civilian to 1
How do you know that?
terrorist combatant.
How do you know?
This guy is just indicting Israel. If Germany, the Britain killed 5-to-1 during the World War II. That's tragic. Shouldn't have happened, but no, it did happen. This isn't World War I or World War II. This is a defenseless population, and you are killing 1-to-1, which means if at all 50,000 people, you've killed 50,000 people in Gaza. It means you killed 25,000 innocent people. How does that even happen? What's happening that you're having a 1-to-1 kill ratio? That for every Hamas fighter you kill an innocent person. That ratio doesn't make any sense. There is nothing to be proud of. There's nothing to brag about in something like that you kill for every Hamas fighter, you kill an innocent person. That can only happen if you're actually trying to target innocent people. And we know that that's not true. We know that the ratio is higher than that, way higher than that.
I know that.
That is.
How do you know that?
You know that because I've debated this on your show 10,000
No, these numbers have not been. These numbers have not been established.
Yes, they have, and I've done this.
These numbers have not been established. No, they haven't. No, they haven't.
So I'm asking you.
No, they
I'm
haven't.
asking you.
It's an absolute lie. You have no idea it is 1-on-1. You've no idea. You've just invented. You've invented that number. You've invented that number.
Even according to the Hamas Health Ministry, which
and the reason we don't know. And the reason
it's easy to prove.
The reason we don't know exactly. The reason we don't know why how many civilians have died in Gaza? It's because 80% of Gaza got leveled to the ground, and the Israeli government will not let international journalists into Gaza to do their jobs, despite there being supposed ceasefire for many months.
That
it's
is a
completely
fraudulent
outrageous.
lie.
And so none of it.
CNN
So
and
people-
Fox
so
News,
people- it
who
is
you
not
work
a
for, have all
lie.
been in Gaza. The New York Times has
It's
been in
not a-
Gaza.
no.
The AP has been in
No,
Gaza.
no,
Bloomberg has been in Gaza.
No,
Rabbi,
stop
Georgia
lying.
Floyd has been in
Stop
Gaza.
lying.
I'm sorry.
Stop lying.
I'm sorry.
Stop
you
lying.
Are, you are
Ask your
not
question.
telling
Stop lying.
the truth.
Stop
you
lying.
are not telling
The
the truth.
only journalists who've been allowed into Gaza have been embedded with the IDF. I want international media, given there's a
Because the
ceasefire,
media,
to be allowed to
because if
operate
they're not
free,
embedded with the
to
IDF,
be
they will be killed by
to be
Gaza.
allowed to
What?
operate, to be. Well, you know what? You know what? The IDF has killed over 200 Palestinian journalists and tries to pretend they're all Hamas. Which is also an outrageous lie. So I'm afraid there's a lot of
There's killed
disinformation
70,000
flying
That
around.
is a lie. That is
I
a
want to
blood
give.
libel.
No,
That
that's
is
a
blood
fact.
libel.
That's a
That
fact.
is a blood
That's a
libel. There
fact.
is a war
That's
in
a fact.
Gaza, and
That's a
journalists are
fact.
dying. That
Oh,
is a
shut
blood
up
libel.
about your blood
This is a
libel.
blood libel.
Let me bring in.
I'll tell you what.
Let me bring in Samuel.
Pierce,
All right, can we
Pierce,
mute
Pierce, I have
Rabbi
an idea,
Shmuley a
Pierce.
minute,
I have an
please?
idea. I have an
Mute
idea.
him.
Pierce,
Please mute him.
Pierce, I'm connected.
Mute him a minute. I want to give Samuel the chance to speak. Mute
Rabbi,
him,
be
please.
good. Come on.
Thank
He's
you.
still talking.
Rage, Rabbi.
Okay, Samuel, I've muted him, so we can't hear him now. Samuel, what do you want to say?
Oh my.
I'll let you have the final word.
It's crazy that he's still playing the victim. 70,000 Palestinians killed, uninhabitable for over 2 million people. The damage is already done. They're already almost at their final stage. They've wiped out Gaza. They've turned it into a wasteland, and they're talking about rebuilding it as a hotel resort. You know, what a life for a person to, if they even survive, that they can work as in a hotel as a housekeeping or maybe at the desk in the land where they once lived. And you can see this man is proud of this, and you can see that this man is completely incredulous, and he does not have any sympathy. He does not have any morals, and that is the reason why it drives people at the other side of the world in Iceland. People of good moral conscience here in Iceland. We're a strong, independent, and moral people. It drives us to say we don't like this, and we're going to say something about it. And that's why you have us. We were at the forefront. Oh, okay, sorry.
No, listen, I appreciate you coming on.
May I respond?
Rabbi
May I respond?
Rabbi Shmuley, yes.
May I respond?
I've unmuted you. But what I want to play you is this is a mashup of your confrontations with members of the public in various countries. Let's take a look.
Wait, guys, why are you running away? What'd you say? Yo, it's you! Fuck you, yo! Yo, fuck you! Do you think you could dress like this in Palestine? No. Jesus is my fellow Jew. I wrote a book called Kosher Jesus. You know nothing about it. I wrote a book called Kosher Jesus. This coward, disgusting anti-Semite, said in front of the entire public that I am a power broker for Jeffrey Epstein.
Wait, so you recognize me from Piers Morgan? You said you don't agree with my views about what?
Michael Jackson. Your president, is that you support Argentina? Javier Milei loves Israel. Javier Milei loves Israel. No. Javier Milei loves Israel. Javier Milei. Because she walked over to me and started screaming Free Palestine because I wear a yarmulke? How is it that a British man is allowed to walk over to a Jew, and an anti-Semite walks over, attacks a Jew at an airport? How does he have a visa here?
Hey, sorry to interrupt. I like your outfit.
Thank you.
So, how have you been finding?
Now, I would put it to you, Rabbi Shmuley, that you love this stuff. It gives you a lot of attention, a lot of clips, and that often you go out of your way to harass people whilst playing the victim. And I don't understand why you need to do that. It's a free country. People want to say what they want to say. Fine, let them.
That's the story of a Zionist.
I have an argument with them, fine. But to film yourself going on after people in the streets around the world constantly, you're clearly doing this for clicks. You're doing it for, to be popular, whatever you think you're being. I looked at the comments under your post where you posted this encounter with Samuel. I don't know whether you've had a chance to read them. They are unrelentingly hostile and negative to you. And these are people largely who follow you on social media. At some point, the penny should drop, Rabbi Shmuley, that yes, it's not nice when people come up and say, fuck Israel to you, but that doesn't make them anti-Semitic. It doesn't make them a Jew hater. It means they don't like what the Israeli government is doing right now. And by the way, nor do most people around the world, actually, according to all the polls. So to try and conflate criticism of a state or a government with Jew hating or anti-Semitism, I think is one of the laziest tropes and most insidious tropes out there right now. Nothing Samuel has said makes me think he hates Jewish people or is anti-Semitic. He just doesn't like what Israel's doing in Gaza and other places, and nor do a lot of people. So you can have a problem with him being rude to you, and I agree with you. But the way you went after him for 10 minutes, the way that his girlfriend was clearly very upset, intimidated, and felt harassed by you, you would do that with impunity and be proud of it. And we just showed a mashup of you doing this relentlessly. Makes me think you're doing this for publicity and clicks and playing the victim card. And I just don't think you need to do that.
It's Machiavellian. He doesn't care.
May I respond? May I respond to Samuel?
Well, let him have let him respond.
And it's a 2-on-1.
Let him respond, Samuel.
You know, Pierce. This is
not a 2-on-1.
Sad day. This is a sad day for you personally. I'll tell you why. Because
no, it's not.
I didn't call you. Oh no. Well, now you won't even let me speak. Will you let me speak? This is a sad day for you personally, Pierce. First of all, you get 1,000 times more negative message. You get 1,000 times more negative messages on your feeds than I do, orders of magnitude. But I like you because you don't care what people say. Neither do I. I will stand for righteousness. Don't bring up what people comment. I couldn't care less. Number two. Your producers called me. Your producers called me to be on the show. So don't talk to me about clickbait. You're using this for clickbait. Number three.
Yeah. Robert Shmuley has a point here. Piers Morgan is a clickbaity show.
I only film people who threaten my life or attack me, like some of the clips you showed. I was physically assaulted in Vienna by 2 of my Palestinian brothers and sisters. I was physically attacked in
Palestinian brothers and sisters? Is that how you treat your brothers and sisters? By genociding them, stealing their land, oppressing them? Is that familial love? You guy's a piece of shit.
Florida in a hotel where a man said, I'm going to take you out, and threatened to kill me and called me a baby killer. Jews have been called baby killers beginning in your country, in Norwich, going back 1,000 years when we were accused of drinking the blood of Christians. There have been many, many decent Icelanders who have issues with the policies of the Israeli government, which they should, because Israel's a democracy, and have walked over and said, I'm ashamed at Samuel. I'm ashamed at my country. The man who set up this interview for your people you hired wrote to me saying, I am ashamed of the way my country has treated you. Samuel opened a can of worms for my 1-year-old grandson and my 4 children to be harassed, attacked, assaulted, feared for our lives. I can't walk down the street.
What did you do when you
excuse me. And the only, and I'm not a violent man. I'm not a violent man. I have never
what was the motive behind that?
I have no. The only excuse me.
We've got in total
the only defense I have. The only defense.
Kill my girlfriend.
The only defense I have.
Israeli, he didn't even have a.
The only defense I have,
my girlfriend, and he was going to find her family.
The only defense I have, Pierce.
I'm still answering hundreds of positive messages.
I've only
gotten 2 negative.
Because there are that many anti-Semites in the world, sadly.
Yeah. Somehow, the whole world is just becoming more anti-Semitic. The whole. Oh my God. If the world is becoming more anti-Semitic, as you are claiming, Robert Shmuley, ask yourself, why is that so? Well, of course, the world is not becoming anti-Semitic. It doesn't make any sense, given, the history of anti-Semitism, given the history of the world, given the sympathy that Jews have because of the Holocaust, and given that societies are just much more civilized now. It makes no sense for people to be anti-Semitic. But it does make sense for people to be critical of Israel, because you're committing the genocide and you're live streaming it in 4K. But you lack the self-awareness to know what the issue really is. You're just going to blame it on anti-Semitism. Do you really think you're that special that people will just begin to hate you for no reason? You think Jews are that special? People just hate them, just wake up and say, I hate Jews. Does it make sense? The answer is no. People don't hate Jews. People hate what Israel is doing, and it's doing it in the name of Jews. It's doing it in the name of Judaism, and that's a dangerous thing.
But let me tell you something, Pierce. The only defense I have is something that we Americans call.
Jews
You won't even. You muted me, but you won't mute him. This is a 2-on-1. Can I respond to your question, or will you not mute him?
Me in the street for saying thank you for dealing with
It
him.
can't be a 2-on-1 when I'm not even speaking.
The only defense I have is something called.
You see, he's even lying that it's 2-on-1 when Piers Morgan is not even saying anything. Dude lies about everything, and this is the thing that is very surprising about these Zionists and even Israel. Even when they are on the right, for example, when October 7th happened, it was what Hamas did was terrible enough on its own that they didn't have to invent things, but they began to invent things as well. Like, dude, why do you have this compulsive need to just lie? Why?
Of the First Amendment enshrined in my Constitution to record or film or respond to an absolute tsunami and wave of Jewish tourists being assaulted in Barcelona 2 days ago, being attacked in Athens 3 days ago. There's a couple missing in Austria, a Jewish woman. Jewish tourists are being assaulted. Now, let me make one point. I'm not Israeli. I'm American. My taxpayers gives this man the right to speak freely for the past 80 years. And let me tell you what he's doing. He might say that a couple of people will write to him. He is destroying tourism. I have received tens of thousands of messages from Americans saying we will not go to this country. That Iceland calls.
Oh, what a load of crap!
Trump.
What a load of crap!
Call Trump they call Trump Hitler. No, this is a.
May I please?
I think this guy may just have single-handedly put Iceland on the map. More people are going to want to go to Iceland now. In fact, I want to go to Iceland now. It seems like a cool, fun place with cool people like Samuel there. This is good publicity for Iceland. This is positive for Iceland. So maybe Israelis are not going to want to go to Iceland. Other people are going to want to go to Iceland.
American Jews.
All right, I'm going to give the final word to Samuel. So final word to Samuel.
Of course you will, because this has been a tag team from day
Samuel.
one. And I've
That guy is such a baby.
You've been talking. You've had twice the airtime that he's had. You've had twice the airtime that he's had. Samuel, final word to you.
Let me ask you, Rabbi, are you still in the country?
That is none of your business. Do you want your friends to come and beat me up? Do you want your friends to come and harass me? How dare you ask that? You are a dangerous man, and I will never tell you. God forbid. That just shows his intentions. Now you see his intentions. Now you clearly.
Dude is having a crash out over a simple question. Are you still in the country? And he's just creating things out of thin air. Oh, you want to kill me? Oh, you want to bother me? Oh, you want to do this? You want to beat me up? Okay, why don't you ask him? Why are you asking if I'm still in the country?
Only see his intentions. How disgusting a question. Are you the prime minister of Iceland to evict me? Are you the police? You know, in my country, impersonating the police is a felony.
All right. Can you mute Rabbi
question.
Shuli so I can hear the last word, please?
Rabbi, be good. Let me finish.
Mute Rabbi Shuli again so I can listen to Samuel. All right, Samuel, final word.
This question is because the International Court of Justice is, of course, is an ongoing investigation started by South Africa, I believe, accusing Israel of war crimes. Now, war crimes have an international response that they apply internationally, and they should be treated as such, and they should be punished as such. Now, quite recently, I don't know the exact date, Icelandic criminal law became intertwined with international war crime laws, meaning that if you are suspected of committing a war crime, aka a genocide, you can be arrested in our country. So that's why I asked, because if you're not out already, I would take your IDF son and get the hell out while you still can, before cops get wise to you.
Good advice. Good advice.
May I respond, please? May I respond? May I respond?
Go on.
May I respond? Samuel,
Yes.
you should read the news. You should read the news sometime. The ICC prosecutor who brought those charges against Israel, which are charges, it's not a trial. His name is Karim Khan. He was fired and suspended by the
arrested in
ICC.
connection to charges.
Excuse me. He won't let me respond. Karim
You don't
Khan,
arrest
the
someone after
ICC
the trial is
prosecutor,
finished. You
was
know how it
arrested
works,
by
right?
the ICC, and he was arrested and he was forced to resign for what
Well,
you did.
criminal law works.
He abused a woman, and she came forward on CNN,
All right.
and he was fired, and it was
Okay. I'm
So
gonna leave-
what does that have to do with anything? Okay, let's say he's a sexual predator. How does that negate the case that's been brought against Israel? This guy just brings random things. Oh my God.
You did to your girlfriend, what you did to your girlfriend, and involving her in a hate crime without
Don't talk
telling her
about my
is
girlfriend anymore,
misogyny, female abuse, and I feel sorry
No.
for her. I feel sorry for what you
Actually,
did
that's
to her.
outrageous. It's outrageous. It's actually what you did to his girlfriend that's the problem from what I
No,
saw.
that's
Anyway,
your
I'm going to
opinion,
leave it there.
Pierce. It's been a
Thank you.
two-on-one debate from day
Yeah, it's
one,
my opinion.
from the first second.
It's my
It's a
opinion. and I'm
two-on-one
protected.
debate.
I'm
I've had
protected.
worse odds.
And I'm protected.
I've had
I'm
worse
protected.
odds.
And I'm protected. To quote somebody a little earlier, I'm protected by my First Amendment rights to have my opinion, and I'm
Correct.
going to stick to it.
Actually,
thank you, Samuel. Thank you, Rabbi
you're
Shmuley.
British.
I'm
You're
going to leave it
British.
there. No, that's it. Actually, no, that means you don't understand your own country's law, because when I'm here in the United States, I am protected by your First Amendment rights.
Are
Same
you
as
in the United States?
Exactly
Are
the
you
same
in the
as
United
you.
States? I thought you
Yes, I
broadcast
am.
from London.
I'm
Are
in
you
Los
the United States?
Angeles.
Oh, then say that.
I'm
You're
in
right.
Los
Thank God.
Angeles.
Thank God you are now protected by
Thank
American
you.
rights. You are very
I'm
lucky.
glad-
Because in
I'm-
Britain,
I'm glad-
in Britain, people are
I'm
being
glad-
arrested
I'm
for,
glad-
for tweets.
I'm glad I had a chance to explain your constitutional rights to you. Thank you both very much indeed. A lot of hot air has
Oh my goodness, that was a crazy one. It just shows the kind of person that Rabbi Shmuley is. Someone who would just create things out of thin air. Everything is anti-Semitism to him. You criticize Israel, anti-Semitism. You confront him for supporting the genocide. Oh, it's anti-Semitism. It's because you hate Jews. You want to kill Jews. Come on. I mean, haven't you ever heard of the boy who cried wolf? And what this guy is doing, what these Zionists are doing, they are minimizing anti-Semitism. It's going to get to a point where even when you have real actual cases of anti-Semitism, nobody's going to want to listen to you because you've cried foul too much, too many times. It is not anti-Semitism to be critical of Israel. It is not anti-Semitism to even be critical of Jewish people. It is not. So, raising anti-Semitism at every turn is doing a lot of this disservice. And how do you lose the goodwill? The goodwill that Jewish people had is being lost because of Israel, because Israel continues to carry out certain things in the name of Jews, carry out crimes, war crimes, genocide in the name of Jews, in the name of Judaism. And that's why I think there needs to be a decoupling between Israel and Jews, so that Israel is held responsible for its actions without bringing Jews into it. But it is the Israelis, it is the Zionists that are insistent on making it about Jews. Oh, fuck Israel, and the next thing this person is saying is that you hate Jews, you want Jews to be killed, you want Jews to be harmed. Like, dude did not even mention Judaism or Jews. He mentioned Israel, a country. And you have every right to be critical of a country. There is no special shield. Israel is not a special country that is above criticism, that is levitating above the rest of the countries. That nothing can be said about Israel. Nothing critical can be said about Israel. Nothing bad can be said about Israel. I mean, people say terrible things about America all the time. Does that mean it's a hatred of Americans? It's Americanophobia or what have you? No. Their actions have consequences, and people look at those actions and people are critical of them. It doesn't mean hate. Anyway, that's what I wanted to cover today. Like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in another live stream. It's bye for now.